Boom. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome to the I'm So Great podcast. I am your host, Mso the Great. Yes, I am great because I bring great to the plate. Every time you see me and we shooting here live from wonderful Relax Studios. Relax is the perfect place for you to come and vibe out, get some work done in the 420 environment. They got all your flavors, everything that you're looking for. I mean, it's just a dope place, man. If you are a 420 fan, man, this should be your spot. You know, I'm happy to be here today, man. I'm happy to have a conversation with y'all today, man. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, this is something important. I feel today is an important day. Uh, First off, let me say congratulations to my son. My son will be graduating tomorrow from high school. Congratulations to my boy. I mean, Daddy's so proud of you, man. Your father's so proud of you. Um, I just want to thank you mainly for making your father a man. Uh, when I when I got with your mother and I fell in love with your mother, man, I wanted to be the best man I possibly could to her. But I didn't really start to be that man until the day you were born. The day you were born absolutely changed my life, and I just want to thank you for that. Congratulations on your graduation. Can't wait to party with you tomorrow. But as your father, man, I feel like in today's society, we're a little lost. Especially when it comes to understanding of the roles of a man in today's society. Uh, I I get that there's a concept of toxic masculinity, and this is something that we have been trying to we as a people. I'm going to say we as a people have been trying to overcome. Toxic masculinity has been a terrible thing when it comes to the history of our people. But at the same time, with me understanding toxic masculinity, I do think it's still important for us to identify with masculinity. That's still an important thing. Even though toxic masculinity has been something that people have been using for years and decades and centuries, really, to be able to push their role and make things happen in the way that they want them to make it. But at the end of the day, masculinity is extremely important. And I feel like that in today's society, we're starting to lose a lot of that. I'm not going to say lose a lot of masculinity because masculinity is not something that's synonymous to a gender. We know that masculinity can be something that is in males as well as in females. Masculine and feminine energy is something that is a one size fit all type of thing, and it's really about the energy that we're expressing. And I feel like in today's society, um, the role of a man is a little confused. And for me personally, I don't think so. I don't think that the role of a man is a confusing thing. I think that it's a very simple thing. It's a very simple thing. But the problem is, it's on both sides of the board. We are having a little hard time with identifying what those roles should be. And roles, responsibilities, actions, the way you carry yourself. All of these things are very important. They're very important, and we really have to hone in on what are we supposed to be doing in this. I had a conversation with a friend of mine earlier, man, and it just brought to light a lot of things, you know. And once I had a conversation with my friend, just let you know, I just started doing some research online, and I started seeing there was a lot of people that had this mentality, a lot of men that have this mentality. And I can't say that that mentality is the wrong mentality, but what I can say is there's a beneficial way for us to be able to use this, and there's a beneficial way for us to be able to express ourselves and show a different side. Okay, so anyway, I was having a conversation with my friend earlier today, and he was saying how he believes that the black woman has destroyed the family dynamic. So he believed the black woman has destroyed the family dynamic. And for me personally, I couldn't really understand why. So my question was, how? How is it that the black woman destroyed the family dynamic? And he starts to go into a bunch of things, and you could tell that there were a bunch of things that you know he have experienced, and maybe some guys that he knows has experienced things of that nature, which has turned them off from the concept of really, I won't say family and the possibility of a family, but has have him frustrated. You know, for me personally, I don't think that the black woman destroyed the family at all. I think the family had been destroyed prior to that, and it was done by us. A lot of times When I say us, I mean black men. I can definitely say the family was destroyed by the black man because the black woman stayed on a lot of levels to be able to maintain that family, even though that there was a key piece missing. They stayed. They raised those babies, even though they raised them with an emotional capacity, and they raised them with the particular skills and or the particular um, characteristics that they have. And that's why, a lot of times it's very important to have a mother and father in the family, in the household, or at least the masculine and the feminine in the household. I won't say a mother and father, but I will say a masculine and the feminine within the household, because as you're growing up and you get to see when the masculine and the feminine, when they're interacting with each other, when they're interacting with each other on a positive level, when they're interacting with each other on a negative level, when they're interacting with each other and how they interact with each other, and being able to witness how the masculine works with the feminine and being able to wish the vice versa, where the feminine works with the masculine, it gives you a broader perspective on life and gives you a broader perspective on options when it comes to, what I'm saying, the way you go about answering, the way you go about doing things. Like myself, I grew up in a household. My father wasn't around. I was raised by my mother, and my mother is a very masculine woman. She's a masculine woman. Now, by the look of her, you couldn't tell. Very small, dainty, woman, very pretty, small, dainty woman. So you couldn't tell by the look of her, but her mannerisms and the way she lived her life, she was completely masculine. She masculine to the point where she had lost faith in man, lost faith in men being able to supply and be who she wanted them to be, or fulfill some of the expectations that she had. She kind of lost faith in that. And in losing faith in that, she carried on certain behaviors, and those certain behaviors I adopted. My father wasn't around, and so she was the powerhouse in my life. Now she got married to another guy, but in my personal opinion, he was the feminine. He was extremely feminine individual. So we didn't truly relate. We didn't truly identify with each other because he was a very extremely feminine individual. And I am an individual. I identify with the masculine. I'm a masculine man, so I identify with the masculine energy. When I am face to face with the feminine energy, I'm on a service level, you know, on a service level, because I do feel like as men, we're here on a service level when it comes to women. I'll get into my concepts. I get all into the concepts a little later and stuff, but for me, it's very important for us to identify with what we bring to the table and what we've done wrong. It's very easy to be able to point the finger on the other side of the aisle because we're not being satisfied, or we feel like we're not being satisfied, or we're going through things. It's very easy to point the finger on the other side of the aisle. Me personally, I have issues. I got mommy issues, no lie. What I'm saying? I got mommy issues, and the women, I've had a lot of experiences with women in my family where, you know, they weren't the best experiences. They weren't the best experiences. We have some toxic relationships there. They weren't the best experiences. And growing up as a young man, my mother used to always teach. She didn't teach me to really respect women. That wasn't what her lesson was. She didn't really teach me to respect women. She used to constantly tell me how vindictive women are, how conniving women are, how women can't be trusted, and things of that nature. So as a young man experiencing that, you gotta you either are going to be the you are either going to be a subject of your environment, or you're going to try to give yourself a different education so you won't be a subject of your environment, because you see what is happening around you. You come up in these neighborhoods and you see the mother father dynamic not really that strong. Mother's lead of the house, father's not around, and how that plays off. We've seen that over and over and over and over and over again. But we've also seen the type of family that you get when you have an active man. Active man. And again, being an active man doesn't mean you have to actually be home and live in the actual same house as the mother of the children. Sometimes we as men, we make a lot of excuses. And one of the excuses is, okay, I can't deal with the mother. The mother has yada, yada, yada. And since I can't deal with the mother, then she's keeping me away from the children. And there, in a lot of, in a lot of examples, a lot of aspects. There are some women who are keeping the children away from the men for various reasons, things of that nature. I'm not going to get into that. For various reasons, that is happening. But the thing that I look at it as is that's not the majority. It's not the majority. The majority of women aren't out here trying to refuse that their baby fathers or husbands or whatever from being around the children. That's not the majority of women. That is a community of women, but it's not the majority of women. So as men, we got to take responsibility and say, hey, we dropped the ball. We dropped the ball. And we've been doing this shit for fucking years, for decades. We dropped the ball. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we as husbands or fathers or leaders of our families, yes, it's been a great obligation for us to be able to provide for our families. And our grandparents, our grandfathers and great grandfathers and stuff like that, you know, when they provided for the family, what they did was they went out there and they grind. They worked all day long. They were working, I mean, working hard jobs to provide. And they'll come home and they bring the check home, and the wife go out and do what they need to do for the family and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? He might be wiped out a lot and not really that active within the family like that, especially in his younger years. You don't be really active in the family as much because you're putting all of your efforts into making sure you supply for that family. Well, we all know that those times change. Those times have been changed for about 20, 30, about 30, 40 years now. Women have been contributors to the household for a while now. This is not a new conversation that we're having. And so since women are contributors of the household, that means that they're alleviating some of the workload off of you, even if they're just making the money to be able to take care of themselves and buy the things that they want to and the extra stuff for the house and stuff. What they're actually doing is they're being a support to something that was normally just expected from one party. Now you have two parties that are fulfilling that. Okay. Well, the two parties are fulfilling that now. Now we have to find a way to be able to relieve for both parties. If your woman or the feminine person in your life is stepping up and bringing in an income and helping out with bills or helping out with the household obligations, financial obligations, if you have that, then we have to find a way to be able to help them on the things that they are doing besides the financial things. Because if you have a active woman, an active mother, an active wife, if you have an active woman in your life, then you understand how much they do, how much they do, how much they handle and take care of. You know how much of the obligation of the children that they're putting up, that they're fulfilling, feeding them, bathing them, clothing them, making sure they have underwear and socks. And, it's like my wife. My wife be going in the kids' room and cleaning the kids' room and stuff like that. She gets frustrated, and when she get frustrated, then she go right in there and clean the kids' room, washing clothes and things of that nature. You know what I mean? These are all responsibilities that in today's society really cannot be synonymous to one party, especially if both parties are being financially obligated to the household. It's hard to be able to say yes. Now you can still say, well, I work more hours and yada yada yada. Yeah, you work more hours. Yes, that's true, and I understand it. I'm hitting my microphone. I just got this. I'm trying this little mic out and shit like that. So what I'm saying. Yeah, just trying to add a little more clarity to the vocals and shit like that. Even though I think the vocals have been all right, except for before when I had that first. I'm not even gonna name the name of that system. That first podcast system I had was suck. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I concur. But it's very important for us to be able to find ways to to meet them halfway and let them know that, hey, we appreciate this, so I'm going to help you over here. You know, I'm going to help you over here. Now, I'm a breadwinner for my family. I make sure that everything is taken care of. I hold everything down. But at the same time, I still help my wife do other things. I'm a very active father. I'm a very active father. Even though I work every single day, putting in 12 to 14 hours every single day, I'm still a very active father with my children. I have a very good relationship with my children. I also, and this is a big thing. This is a big thing because this is a thing that fathers miss a lot of times. That fathers miss. Okay, one of your biggest jobs as a father is to covet the mother. You have to covet the mother of your. You see, if the mother of your children is coveted and she feels like she is appreciated. She knows that she can depend on you. She feels like a she feels like she's being loved in this situation, even though you don't have to be with this woman to make her feel this way. You don't have to be in a relationship or live in a house with her or married to her, nothing like that, to be able to make sure that she feels this way. You see, the thing is, anytime that you lay down and you have a child with a woman, now you have a person in your life, in your life for the rest of your life. This is family now. This is family now. And yes, we could get upset. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I didn't want the baby. I didn't want the obligation. I didn't want to yada, 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 whatever. Oh, she trapped me, whatever. Yeah, yes, yes. We could say a lot of things, but at the end of the day, when that baby is here, the fuck you gonna do? When that baby is here, that baby needs a father. And since that baby needs a father, that baby also needs that father to protect that baby from the mother. And the way that we protect our children from the mother is to covet thy mother. Yes, we had a fling. It ended up you having a baby. Okay. Yes, we're not in love with each other and we're not in a relationship with each other. But you know what? I love you. I love you because you are the mother of my child. And you being the mother of my child, I am obligated to you for life. For life. No matter who I marry in the future, no matter what other woman I get with, I'm obligated to you for life. You have my child. You have my child. We got to step up and start to realize that this is what this is what a lot of these issues stem from. They stem from the nurturing of the family. Father, what they say, mama's baby, papa's maybe. That shit can't stand no more. That shit can't stand no more. We can't even show respect anymore to brothers that don't take care of their children. We can't show respect to that no more. We can't respect anymore mothers who don't allow their children and don't allow their children to be in their father's life for anything besides that it's a danger to the children. That's a problem. We got to stop that. We can't continue to allow this. We have to put our families back together. But for our families to get back together, we have to remember why we started families with each other in the first place. Why it's important for our unit to be cohesive. why it's important for us to work together to be able to make this. Now, the way when I'm looking at raising children, I mean, everything that I do, I'm Mso the Great. Mso the Great. Yes, I bring great to the plate. I am Mso the Great. So everything that I touch, everything that I do with every drop of greatness in me. I need it to be extremely successful, abundantly successful, because I'm great and I can't accept anything besides that. I can't accept anything besides that. I'm great, period. So with that concept, it's like, yo, when I'm raising my children, I want to be the greatest father. When I'm with my woman, I want to be the greatest man. When I do a job, I want to be the greatest. So point blank, period, I want to be the greatest at anything that I do. And you can't be great in a relationship or have a great family if the family is feuding, if you're constantly fighting. We got to find ways to overcome this. We got to find ways to work this out. And I understand with a lot of brothers. I understand it. You know what I mean? Damn, when you get your heart broken as a man, and I truthfully, I don't see it. It shouldn't be no different from a woman getting her heart broken. But as men, when we get our heart broken, because we're not so quickly to give you that. So when we get our heart broken, we take that very emotionally. We get real egotistical with that. We get real egotistical with that. And I was talking to my brother earlier, you know what I'm saying, my homie and shit about this. And, and he was expressing, because, he was saying that he believes that the black woman has destroyed the family, but he was also expressing a lot of pain, a lot of things that he suffered in relationships and how he was hurting. And I think with us being men, sometimes we really don't identify with that in the way that we're supposed to be identifying that. Yes, when you get your heart broken, that shit hurts. It hurts. And it's hard to get over. It's hard to trust after that. It's hard to do a lot. And this is truthfully a story that we've heard from women over and over and over and over and over. But as men, we really don't identify, really don't know about it until it happens to us. And then when it happens to us, it's devastating. It's devastating. It's devastating. My man was telling me that, he was going through all this stuff, and there was months that he didn't eat, and one of his other homeboys had to literally come sit with him every day to make sure he ate a meal. To make sure he ate a meal. And I looked at my brother and it's just like, my man, your heart was broken and you never took the time to fix it. And you have been hopping from woman to woman, expecting one of them to have the ability to fix it. Expecting one of the women to have the ability to fix it. And I'm sorry to say, but that's just fucking impossible. You're not going to meet a woman who is going to fix that, who's going to have the ability to fix it. Now, you can meet a woman that can prove that situation wrong. You can meet a woman that will inspire your trust. You can meet all of that. But one thing you ain't going to meet is the woman that fixes you. That's up to you, my man. That's up to you. And as men, we don't like to admit when our feelings are hurt. And at the end of the day, that's what happened. The ex hurt your feelings, man. It hurt your feelings. And with your feelings being hurt, you lashed out for years. And you didn't take the time to admit to yourself, hey, the reason why I hurt my feelings because I felt like you were right. I felt like you were right. And me having to face that was the worst thing in the world. Me having to face my ills, and me having to face my faults, or me having to face reasons why you no longer want me. It hurt. It broke my heart. And I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to make myself feel better. And I've been here. I've been here. I've been in this place, feelings hurt, broken, beat down. But the one thing that I had to realize is the reason why I felt that way because I felt like that person was right. And on certain levels, they were. On some levels, they were. But what I ended up taking from that is now I have something to work on. Now I have something to work on. You see, when you're in a relationship with somebody, that relationship isn't guaranteed to be forever. And just because we made a great investment into that relationship and was exposed and was extremely vulnerable, still doesn't mean that relationship is going to last forever. Still doesn't mean that person is done fucking people. Yeah, they were faithful to you for 10, 15, 20 years. And it's only, I'm only air quoting faithful because, you know, a lot of that is just, you just didn't catch them. You know what I'm saying? But they were faithful to you for all these years, yada, 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 and then they weren't. And then they weren't. And then you found out. And it broke your fucking heart. And it broke your heart mainly because you were not focused on having to prepare yourself to go back out here and do this shit all over again. You were comfortable. You were comfortable. And when you got comfortable, you felt like, man, this is it. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. Yeah. But that doesn't mean forever. It doesn't. And it's sad to say, but it doesn't. It doesn't mean forever. But just because it doesn't mean forever, doesn't mean like the relationship was a bad relationship. Doesn't mean that either. It ended badly, but doesn't mean it was a bad relationship. You know, we get so egotistical and so angry as shit. And it's like we feel like we got to have this beef and we got to fight and have this burden and be mad and yada, yada, yada. We can't let shit go. We can't let shit go. If you admit that your heart was broken and you admit it hurt your feelings, then you admit why. You're like, okay, well, if I don't like that about myself, I can do something about it. Or if I don't like that about that person, I can do something about it. But it doesn't mean we have to fight. It doesn't mean it has to be a war. None of that shit. That is immaturity. It's absolute immaturity. You was with somebody and y'all been divorced over 10, 15, 20 years and you still mad at each other? Fucking immaturity. It's immaturity. How can you be a great unit for the children, the people that you raise, if you ain't standing on business? We got to learn to stand on business again, man. We got to learn to stand on business again. I got an obligation to you. You got an obligation to me. Let's both stand on business when it comes to that. Let's stand on fucking business, period. Let's stand on business. All right? Me as your man. Here is what I am going to do as your man, and I'm going to stand on it. Here is what you're not going to have to do when I'm your man, and I'm going to stand on it. When you're my woman, this is what you're doing. This is what I'm not going to have to do. We are a unit, and we got to get back to being a unit. We got to stop pointing fingers at each other. I understand you had Kevin Samuels, you had all these other motherfuckers, and everybody saying, hey, we're the man, and hey, and then you got these women, and hey, we're the women, and yada, yada, yada. But we weren't even paying attention to the whole fucking time. These were single fucking people. Single people trying to teach you how to use your ego to lead in love. How does your ego lead in sacrifice? How does your ego lead? Your ego is the fucking enemy in sacrifice. Your ego is the fucking enemy in love. But y'all letting y'all ego. You know how many times I be around women and women like, well, he cheat, I'ma just cheat back. I'ma just cheat back, yada, yada, yada. I'ma just cheat back instead of demand respect or leave this motherfucker alone. That is why the shit will get worse. You know how many men that I talk to? How many men that I talk to and they be in relationships, in fucking relationships, 100% in relationships and shit like that, but can't have zero self-control. Can't turn down pussy. Can't turn down an advancement. Zero self-control. But we are looking at the world on the other end. Oh, the woman's supposed to have all the self-control. The woman's supposed to be able to be submissive. And, oh, they talk too much. They don't listen. What the fuck? Do you listen? Do you listen? Do you listen? You can say they talk too much, but do you fucking listen? Do you learn? The homie, I was talking to the homie, and the homie was like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I'm gonna make sure I lead because if you ain't got a vision, you gotta have a vision and all that. And I asked him a simple question: what if you ran into a woman that has the vision? Can you follow? Are you willing to follow? You run into a woman who has the vision that can lead y'all into a purposeful future. Can you follow? And what he told me was, well, I ain't looking for a woman like that. Well, that may be the woman you need. The problem may be you want to lead and you're not the best leader. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with us admitting that. I'm not the best basketball player. I'm not the best basketball player, period. I'm not the best basketball player. So if I get on the basketball court and motherfuckers say I got to play for money or play for my life or whatever, nigga, I ain't a good basketball player. But if I'm with a woman and she a good basketball player and we're facing a basketball challenge, I'm letting her lead. I'm letting her lead. The first thing I learned about being a leader is if you can't be a good follower, you can't be a good leader. You can't be a good follower. You can't be a good leader. Because how are you going to lead if you don't know the ambitions of a follower? How are you going to lead? You can't. You can't lead if you don't know the ambitions of a follower. You just can't. It just doesn't make any sense. So you have to learn how to follow. Sometimes you're going to follow your woman. If you one of them, and this is where toxic masculinity comes into play. Because you can't say, oh, I can't follow nobody because I'm a masculine man. That's bullshit. Masculine men follow motherfuckers every fucking day. You got masculine men that follow generals, masculine men that follow sergeants, masculine men that follow fucking OGs and shit, masculine men. Following people. So you can't say because you're a masculine man, you ain't gonna follow shit. That don't make no fucking sense. That means you not identifying with who the fuck you are. And you're not being honest and truthful. I am a business leader. I'm a husband, a father, a business leader. You know what I'm saying? I get a lot of respect. A lot of people come to me for guidance and leadership. But there have been several times in my relationship where I had to follow my woman. I'm the leader. I'm the breadwinner. I'm the head of household. There have been several times where I had to follow my woman. I'll give you an example. I ain't gonna say a few years back. This was probably close to 10 years back. Close to 10 years back, my wife and I was living in an apartment. We had 2 children, and we actually we had took in another child. You know what I'm saying? My man Nasir. I love Nasir. He's my godson. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, we took in my godson. He was about 2 weeks old, and we were living anyway. We were living in this apartment. Okay. Now, while we were living in this apartment, a huge storm hit. Huge storm hit. When a huge storm hit, it flooded out the entire apartment complex. It looked, I mean, the shit was crazy. It looked like a scene from Hurricane Katrina. You know what I'm saying? It looked like a scene from there. Um, Not to downplay Hurricane, you know what I'm saying, what the people went through during Katrina. I just wanted to express the devastation that we were experiencing at the time. It was one of those things where the water was so high, the lower apartments were completely flooded out. People had to try to stand on their tables and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? To try to at least try to stay out of the water, and that didn't really help on certain levels and shit like that. Some people shit went very high. You saw dumpsters and everything being carried, cars being lifted up and moved. Like this was a absolute terrible storm. It wasn't really about how bad the storm was. It was more about the apartment complex. The apartment complex had a bad drainage system. So when the storm hit, it really, really just flooded the fuck over and shit. All right. So needless to say, during this time, we lost everything. The car, you know what I'm saying? And we lost the car during that time. Well, during the time we were in our apartment, it was literally about a couple days after the water had receded a little bit. The water had receded. People were able to go outside and stuff. During this time, when the storm hit, my children were at their aunt's house, and we were flooded in, so we couldn't really get out. So to be able to get the kids, we had them bring the kids to the front of the neighborhood, and we had to literally wade through the water to get to the neighborhood. And the water is like this high. We had to wade through the water to get through the neighborhood, and then we're carrying our children out of the water, making it back to the apartment. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, like that, doing it like that. So we do that, and but that, no, I'm saying that's neither here nor there. So just to let you know how bad this storm was, this is a crazy storm. Everything flooded out. All right, we get about a couple days after the water had receded. There is a note door from the apartment complex. The apartment complex is stating that they're basically there was an issue with the apartments that they need to get fixed, and everybody had to be out by the next day at 5 o'clock. They told us we can leave all of our stuff, but everybody had to be out, and they said it was going to be less than a week. Everybody had to be out for like less than a week while they fixed the issues and shit. All right. So, and I had never experienced no shit like that. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? We had just re-signed our lease literally the month before. We had just re-signed our lease. So I had never experienced no shit like that. So when it went down and shit, I'm like, oh, okay, well, we just gotta, what I'm saying, I had a little money and shit at the time and shit. I wasn't destitute, nothing like that. So I was like, oh, no, you know what I'm saying, we'll go ahead and find us, go stay somewhere for a week while they work the business and shit like that, and they're gonna have to take the money out the rent or whatever, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like that. That's the way I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? And while I'm thinking like that, my wife is going around and she is packing up shit. She is grabbing all the paperwork, all the important paperwork and everything like that, because she like, this sound like some bullshit. We're gonna take everything that we need to take everything that we can right now. You know what I'm saying? This sounds like some bullshit. We're gonna take everything that we can right now. And I was like, yo, I'm saying, hey, we just signed the lease, everything, you know what I'm saying? We should be good and shit like that, whatever. Um, Needless to say, my wife was right. When we went to the office, the rental office, basically they had an asbestos issue. The city was shutting down the community because it was dangerous for people to live in. The city was shutting down the community. It was dangerous for people to live in. They asked us to keep all our stuff in the apartments and for us to leave so they can hold our stuff hostage, because they needed us to sign release forms to say that we can't be sued, but they can't be sued from anything because of this. If you got sick or anything like that, they were trying to get people to sign releases, and so they were holding your stuff hostage to the point where they told us, it was like, hey, you got a window of time between maybe 8 and 5 where you're able to go into your apartments every day and grab things out, if you want to switch clothes and stuff like that and everything like that. And then when we come back, they got, oh, well, you can go back to your apartment, but we got to send you with armed guard. And they got to watch you as you doing your thing and shit. Yeah. So, needless to say, I followed my wife on that, and she was fucking right. 100% right. Follow my wife on that. She was 100% right. So when everybody else was going through all this bullshit because they were trying to force them to sign them releases, we had all our important shit already. We had already had all our important shit. So that was a time where my wife was the leader. And if I didn't follow her, I would have led us in a fucked up situation. I would have led us in a fucked up situation. My wife led us through that. She led us through that. Also during that time, FEMA and all that stuff, they were coming to help. And I'm black, I'm from the hood. I literally have this concept where it's like, you ain't gonna get shit. It's only for white. Certain shit is only for white people and shit. You know what I'm saying? Fucking 2020 something, 20 fucking 15, something like that. I was still had this fucking mentality. Thinking that things were exclusive to only white people. And I was thinking that, like, yo, we ain't gonna get nothing for FEMA. This is nothing for white people. My wife was pushing that shit. And since she had all the paperwork that we needed, that we pulled out and all that shit, we were able to get some money really, really quick. And that money helped us because we were able to, not only that money helped us, but FEMA gave us vouchers to be able to find a place and everything. And it helped. And my wife led us on that. She led us. I'm just being a confident man, like, oh man, everything all right, don't worry about it. I got a couple of dollars, we're gonna take. No, action needed to be made. And she was the one who inspired that action. She led the way. She led the way. Sometimes we got to understand that our women can lead. Our women can lead. If you study African culture, or if you study Native culture, you will understand the power of our women. The fight, the vigor, the knowledge that is in our women. You will understand that. Study history, bro. Our history is not Western history. And in Western culture, they got some powerful women that did some great shit that nobody could overthrow. We got to stop with this shit, man. We got to stop with this concept where it's like, oh, she got to obey and she got to all that shit. You got to lead properly. You got to be respectful. If you with a disrespectful woman and she just a disrespectful woman, then you with the wrong woman. But all women ain't like this. Most of these women out here want a good man. They want one. But you're focusing on the motherfuckers that turned you down. Instead of understanding that there's a whole lot of love out here. It's a whole fucking lot of love. People want this shit, man. Yeah, people don't know how to communicate no more. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you walk down the street and you talk to black women and because you scared of their reaction. What is your purpose? What is your purpose? You trying to have, what is your purpose? You walking down the street, you see a black woman, say, how you doing there? What's going on? Say, good afternoon. Something like that. Yes, I go on walks. I go on walks. You know what I'm saying? I like to stay fit, do my cardio. You know what I'm saying? Bust out 4 or 5 mile walks and shit. And I like to be outside in the atmosphere, in the public when I'm doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to breathe. I want to, you know what I'm saying? I want to be able to be around the people and all that shit. So I go out on walks. And when I'm going on my walks, you know what I'm saying? I will see a young woman or a woman, and a black woman, and I will say hello. And you know what I'm saying? Sometimes a lot of them do just walk past without saying nothing. But we can't be all egotistical and get, oh, this bitch, oh, bitch, know what I'm saying? You ain't say nothing to me. All like, what the fuck? You have no clue what that woman is going through. You have no clue what the woman went the day before. You have no fucking clue. You just pissed off that she didn't appease you and give you what you wanted. Because your communication came with obligation. Your communication came with obligation. You got to start learning how to lead. Start learning how to lead. And I understand. I have a different concept of shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a Christian man. I'm not a Christian man. And with my beliefs, I have a different belief in what women are. I have a different belief in what women are. All right. I'm not one of those individuals who say, hey, well, God took a man's rib and created a woman. You my rib, what I'm saying? You was created for me. I don't believe in that shit. I don't believe in it. You know what I'm saying? I understand. I know this is a touchy subject, and if this is your religion, I really am not trying to so I'm not trying to put you against your religion. I'm not trying to test or question your religion. I'm just letting you know what I believe. All right. And then what I'm paying attention to is the God that I serve, the God that I love, has trends, creates these things called harmonious rhythms, where things happen over and over again. The way a tree is created is the way a tree is created, no matter what. It's constantly tree is created over and over again. The way a dog is created, it's the way that dog is created over and over again. That's how nature is. Nature starts trends. But why do we believe as a people that God said, okay, man, I want you to create, I'm going to take your rib and create a woman for you. But after I do it this one time, every single time anything's created after that is going to be created through her. How the fuck does that make any sense? When does God do something one time? What did God do something one time and say, you know what? I'm only going to do it this one time like this, but every other time like this, the woman is going to be the one who gives birth to the man. How does it make fucking sense? So for my beliefs, for who I am, I believe that women were here first. I believe that the black woman created the black man out of necessity, because at the end of the day, a man gives sperm, and that sperm is nothing but information. It's information, and it's the spark of life. Information and the spark of life. Women have eggs, which are material, which gives life purpose. The spark sparks the activation of the material, and it creates life. But for some reason, we believe that one time, God just say, hey, give me your rib and I'm going to make a woman out of this. I'm sorry. If a man created women, and a man will always create a woman. But you don't get a woman from a man. You get a man from a woman. You don't get a woman from a man. You get a man from a woman. So I do believe that women were here first. And I do believe that it's our obligation as men to be great servants of that woman. That's the reason why would polygamy be such a vast thing throughout so many different cultures and species? And the polygamy normally is a masculine force surrounded around femininity. Why would that happen? Is it because, we created a woman and now a woman? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's because they created us. And they created us with a ambition on making a great one, on making them great. And so the greatest men, the strongest men, the most powerful masculine men usually have multiple women. Even the homie was talking about a lion. He was like, hey man, you look at a lion. You know what I'm saying? You got all these lionesses, and the lionesses could easily take out the lion, but they don't. They do all the work, and they depend on him to protect them. Yes, 100% that's true. But I think that the most important part that we forget about and we don't pay attention to when we see a lion and all these lionesses together, the thing that we don't pay attention to is one fucking lion. That means that one lion beat out all the rest of the other lions to be able to be in this pride. So the greatest rose up, and the women came together around the greatest one. They don't show you what happens to the other lions. They don't show you. You know what I'm saying? He was like, oh, well, I think they go out and start their own pride. Maybe. But what I think the majority of them do is go off and die. The majority of them go off and die. And the reason why I think the majority of them go off and die is because in the lion species, the lionesses are the hunters. So without those lionesses, that motherfucker ain't eating like that. He doesn't know how to hunt like that. He don't have the energy to hunt like that. It's much bigger, much broader. Doesn't have the energy to hunt like that. They do a lot of sleeping. So the greatest rose up, and all the women came around him to love him and protect him. But he had to be the greatest. And we're not being the greatest. We're not living to our full value. We're not expressing our full capabilities. We ain't doing that shit. You know how many men I talk to nowadays and be like, well, what the woman bring to the table? Well, she's always brung to the table. She brought support. When you ask me what a woman brings to the table, I'm looking at it like you expecting her to lead. You're expecting her to lead. What she brings to the table. That means her stuff is more important than your stuff. We got to stop this shit, man. We got to stop this shit. You're worried about what people bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? I understand it. You know what I mean? I understand it's like, yo, there's so many women out here who won't want to mess with you if you ain't got money and yada, yada, yada. Yes, that happens. Yes, that happens. But those women usually are the lonely motherfuckers in the end. Those type of women are usually lonely in the end. So we can't go off of that type of ambition, especially from being a man. We can't do that. We can't focus on that. We got to start focusing on what the fuck we bring to the table and how we as men can create great atmospheres and environments where the women can come and be themselves and be protected and be loved. And be loved. We're in this society, and in this society, for some reason, we think that every man has the right to a woman. You fucking don't. You don't got a right to a woman at all. Just like a woman ain't got a right to you. You don't have this right. We got to work at this shit. Let me show my microphone on. Yeah. We got to work at this shit, man. We got to work at this shit and continue to work. I am a servant of you. You are a servant of me. When we lose that, we lose each other. It's not you who just supposed to serve me and me be served. We're supposed to serve each other in kind. We serve each other. We serve each other in love. We serve each other in respect. We serve each other in responsibilities. We serve each other. I believe that we can be great. And I believe that the Black household isn't lost. It isn't broken. The Black household has been a part of psychological warfare for a long time. And it's finally got to a point where we're the biggest weapons of the psychological warfare. But there's one thing that I know is when a woman finds the one for her, she's willing to do whatever it takes. When a man finds the one for him, he's willing to do whatever it takes. Yes, I do believe in polygamy because a lot of times I do believe that we have a lot of broken men in this world who don't have the ability to love a woman. They don't have that ability. They don't have the ability to love a woman. And since they don't have the ability to love a woman, we're getting a lot of there's a lot of heartbreak and a lot of heartache around here, you know. And when it comes to polygamous concepts and stuff like that, yeah, that's you usually have a man being loved by these women because they have the power and the energy to do so. And they are providing in a way because if you have 4, 5, 6 wives, I mean, they could easily get jobs, work, and don't fucking need you. No problem. Come together as all sister wives, put all their money together, and now they don't fucking need you. So we have to pull ourselves back from this. All a man could really be is the financial, the financial support. That's not fucking true. We have so much more to bring to the fucking table, and we have so much more. We have so much more to bring to the table. And a lot of this shit is about pleasure. You know what I mean? A lot of you niggas ain't pleasing your women. You know what I'm saying? A lot of niggas ain't pleasing your woman. And since you ain't pleasing your woman, you're not getting the full potential out of this woman. Woman want to be pleased, bro. You know what I'm saying? She want to be pleased, bro. If you know you having some erectile dysfunction issues and shit, go get some toys. Go get some toys. Eat some pussy. Play with it. Take on dates. Compliment it. Rub on the ass. Fill on all that shit and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different ways to make this happen. But we got to start addressing ourselves first. And yes, there are a lot of things that women can definitely do to be able to better support us and better love us and all that stuff. But before we can get there, before we can get to what a woman can do to be able to better love us, it's important that we identify with how do we better love each other. I just want to see something. How do we better love each other? It's important for us to identify with that. We must understand how can we better love each other. Period. It's not just their responsibility to love us. It's not just their responsibility to be submissive to us. It's not. It's not. It's our responsibility to love and be there for each other. And if we can't do that, then what the fuck we gonna do? What the fuck we gonna do? Our children need us, man. This shit starts with us. The black man and the black woman, the black parent. It starts with us. It starts with us. We got to put our egos down. We got to let this shit go. We got to start working for each other. We got to start loving each other and respecting each other. We got to start asking each other, how can we love each other better? This is important, man. I want you to be happy. I want your kids to be happy. I want to be happy. I don't want to see our children out this motherfucker shooting each other up and all this shit. I'm getting so fucking tired of watching these old niggas praise YNs who out this bitch fucking going crazy. This shit ain't masculine. This shit ain't masculine. You know what I'm saying? Yo, these YNs out here, you know what I'm saying? That shit ain't masculine to me. Why are the YNs out here wilding the fuck out? Why? Because they're raised by their mothers and they have responses like women. And now they have women responses with automatic weapons. The flashiness, all this shit and everything like that. These are female traits. These are feminine traits that we're trying to play as masculine. These ain't masculine traits, young man. It's not masculine to fucking lose your cool all the time. It's not masculine to fucking constantly be wilding the fuck out and emotional all the time. Shit ain't masculine. It's not. No matter if you want the other end of a fucking firearm, that shit ain't fucking masculine. That shit ain't masculine. And the reason why we're not building on this shit is because it ain't. Because it ain't. We pick up big ass switches because we're scared to get our ass whooped. Fear of your objective is not masculine. We're going to have fear no matter what. We're going to have fear. It's going to be here. The fear is going to exist no matter what. But you're going to overcome that fear. You're going to learn from that fear. You're going to embrace that fear. You're going to go. Period. That's how it's going to go, man. You know, I just believe, man, we could be so much greater. As men, as women, as family, as brothers and sisters, as husband and wives, we can be so much greater and so much better. But we're basing these things on some egotistical ass, weak ass shit. Women don't want to be wives because they're going to have to cook and have babies and raise kids, and they don't want to do that. They want to have fun. Men don't want to be husbands because they're going to be obligated to hold things down and all this shit, and they don't want to do that. All this shit is immaturity. All this shit is egotistical, being egotistical. None of it has anything to do with service, and none of it damn sure ain't got nothing to do with love. Ain't got shit to do with it. I want y'all to love each other, man. I love the hell out of my woman. And motherfucker be like, man, you been with your woman all you can't tell me it's always been sunshines and rainbows and shit. No. No. But why in the fuck would you want it to be? How do we learn if it ain't nothing but just, how do we learn? How do we grow? How? We can't. It's all a challenge. You got to just fucking step up to the challenge and stop being such pussies. I can't say pussies because I'm saying pussy like, but a pussy is on a woman. A pussy is an extremely powerful thing. What a pussy can handle, go through, create. God, pussy is so damn powerful that God wanted to be the first thing that touches life. Life has to come through it. So I can't say being a pussy. What I'm gonna say is you being fucking weak. And we can't keep being weak as a people when it comes to loving each other and respecting each other and holding each other down. I love my black women. Oh, I absolutely love my black women. I have black women that I'm in love with. I have black women that I crave. I have black women that I respect and admire and revere. I love it. Appreciate y'all. Just one moment.